Hey, welcome to our fall garden tour.
That's right. It is November the 13th of 2023. We are excited to be bringing you a fall garden tour, just like we did the spring and the summer. Now it's the fall. Quick note, everything is not changing all at the same time, so we're going to be jumping back and forth in time frames.
Yep, some were definitely more beautiful earlier. A lot of trees are beautiful right now and are turning really nicely, like this one behind us. And some haven't started yet, so we'll bring
Yeah,
those to you like a little bit later.
we'll try to put notes of when and everything is happening.
Yeah.
We're in zone 8A for reference, and this is just what happens here. So we're excited. Let's get going.
All right.
Okay, so starting our fall garden tour in the back of our yard, at least the way that you would walk to this is the last tree in our yard, which is a Cryptomeria yoshino. And if you're not familiar with that, that is a Japanese cedar. It doesn't have any fall color yet. Sometimes it will have a little bit of bronzing happening over the winter, but right now it's just purely green. But look at the size of it. So this guy, when we planted it, it was a little bit shorter than us. So I would say it was about up to our shoulders. And it's been in the ground for almost 3 years now. So just something to know about what a cryptomeria does. We have this planted purely for blocking. Talking about blocking, I'm going to go over on this side.
Okay.
We have a whole row of cryptomerian deodar down here. I don't know if you can see that we've planted along there. Um, but then over here, we have another deodar. So this is a feeling sunny deodar during the fall or winter time frame. So feeling sunny comes out very, very yellow. I don't know if you'll remember what it looks like, but it's very yellow in the spring. However, by this point, it looks almost like a regular deodar. It might be slightly more blue, but this is what it does. And again, this one also was planted. It was maybe about 3 feet tall when we planted it, and now it is taller than me. It's probably around, I don't know, I'll make myself tall. It's around 7 feet, right? No, I'm not that tall. All right, keeping on going. This is a Sengokaku air layer. So Sengokaku, also known as a coral bark Japanese maple. It has already turned.
It's done.
So Sengokaku's turn a little bit earlier for us than the other trees. So we'll just keep on going.
Who's that guy back there?
What, the red one?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to it.
Please pardon our weedy mess around here. This is the very last part of the yard that we did not get to this summer when we were like taking care of the yard.
We've been doing our best to get rid of weeds, but they are persistent. Um, okay, so this one's kind of almost done here. It's mostly done, but this is a Skeeter's Broom Japanese maple. So it turns a vibrant red in the spring and then again in the fall. And if you're in the right zone, if you're in a colder zone like zone 6 or so, it might even stay a vibrant red throughout the whole year. So that is a Skeeter's Broom. Its growth rate this year was next to nothing on this one. I think I see about 6 inches here that grew, maybe 6 inches here and here. Oh, that's not even six. It didn't grow much in this spot. This was the first year it was here though, so I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, so you can see here that it's beautiful, bright fire engine red, but then it's basically kind of past its peak with all these brown crispy guys.
All right, keeping it going.
Okay.
Let's see here. So this is a Siriu, and this Siriu is still turning. I can see down here it's green leaves, and it's probably red up above me. So y'all know I am red-green colorblind and blue-yellow. I can mostly see the colors, but sometimes I get them wrong.
Well, this tree has been brilliant full fire engine red before in the past. This year, it's not doing so much. There's some red, but it's also just kind of mixed in there with the muddy green, and
Right.
it's just
So
not that great.
maybe next year. We didn't have much rain this fall, so we do have some pretty good colors, but we also have leaves that are falling off of the tree. It is important to note for us, this year we didn't do any supplemental watering. In previous years we had done watering, but since this was the third year in the ground, we really wanted to stop that so they don't become too reliant on us watering them all the time.
I should really do this from the front.
Well, and we'll come back to this, but another thing to note about the Siriu, if you can't already tell, it's big. So the Siriu grows very, very rapidly. It probably put on about 2 to 3 feet of growth this year up towards the top. At the bottom, it hasn't done much, which is fine. But if you plant a Siriu, it's a lay sleep upright. Just something to know that it grows very rapidly and gets to be a very large tree. This is not the mature size of a Siriu. It still has another 10 feet to grow or so. So this is another feeling sunny deodar. To give an idea, again, we planted this It was about 3 feet tall, maybe 4.
Well, and we
Uh,
did a little bit of shuffle. We've had these for a couple of years, but we had to move a few of them around a little bit because the spacing wasn't quite right.
right, but you can kind of tell how much it's grown. And we planted this here for blocking and for the color. So in the spring, it's going to have the bright yellow foliage. And by this point, it looks more like a regular deodar. Speaking of deodars, here we'll come back to this tree in a second. But speaking of deodars, so here is Patty Fay deodar. So I don't know if you can tell, its branches obviously aren't quite as long as that last one, but it hasn't been here as long. But its branches will stay more vertical instead of drooping, which those will droop over time. Or horizontal, I should say, instead of drooping.
Well,
The
kind
other
of
thing
like
though,
that soft, kind of soft, drippy kind of look
yeah, the other
for
thing
those.
though is that this is very blue. So in the spring, it's super blue, and right now it's still holding on to a good bit of blue at the tips of the actual tree. And our idea with this is that you would get the blue with the red of the Tamukiyama over there, and the yellow of the Gold Rush Dawn Redwood that's right here. They're all turning right now, so that's not the colors. But it is still very pretty to have the blue in front of the red and in front of the, I guess, rustish color and the other red. So, all right, do you want to talk about this orange flame?
Sure. Here,
Okay, here, we'll trade. We'll
okay,
trade.
okay.
They've seen enough of me.
Here you go.
Okay.
All right, so this is an orange flame Japanese maple, and it, I have to say, I almost thought it was just a seedling after all, because it really wasn't doing much. It looks during the summer and spring just like a kind of just a plain, non-distinct seedling. So it's supposed to turn this bright, vibrant orange in the fall, and right now I would say we're leaning more towards red on this guy. Although I can't really see it from above. Right now, these lower branches haven't started to turn yet. We're kind of getting some turning up above.
Here, pull one down again. Let me see if I can get a shot from above on it.
What are we looking like over here?
Uh,
Yeah,
just not that red.
maybe we're just not at its peak yet to see. So, but this is orange, supposedly. So we'll see. I think we might need to put some more video in here once it's like better.
Well, and it's in as much sun as we can put it. It gets about 10 hours of sun.
And I will say, talking about growth rate from the Siriu, this one also grows pretty darn quickly. We bought this as a 2-gallon whip in 2016, and it's like way up there. Like, how tall is that? I'm 5'6". So that's how tall this guy. This one, if you need a rapid grower, this is a good recommendation, even though kind of in the summer it just looks like a seedling Japanese maple. So can't wait to see if this is actually really spectacular later on in the fall. Previous years, it's just been kind of a flop, but this year has been spectacular for fall colors, so maybe this will be really great this year. All right, moving on to one of our Gold Rush Dawn Redwoods. So this one is kind of in the process of turning right now. A little bit of the chartreuse green is still here from the summer. But then you've got it turning into this beautiful peachy, bronzy kind of color right here. And what's fun is that it kind of changes. You still have the green kind of down here, and then it's like changing out towards the tips. And I'm actually losing a couple of leaves right here as we go. These are really delicate, and they're probably just going to fall off pretty soon. And these go bald in the winter, so we lose all the foliage.
And this one has been in the ground maybe, it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
At most, maybe only 2.
Yeah, so not quite like a bald cypress, but kind of like a bald cypress in a way, but just a different color, like a softer orange than that really rusty brown bald cypress color.
And it has a very fast growth rate. It was shorter than Anna when we planted it, I think.
Right, and we, the first year did give it water, and that's why it shot up a lot. And this past year we did not give it any extra water.
Yeah,
So it
so
kind
it
of
still
slowed,
grew some, but
it slowed
not
down a little bit. All right, behind me are something that you really can't see, which is the Sengokaku, 3 of them. This is Sengokaku, and these are 2 air layer Sengokakus that we did from 2 different trees. One of these is from this tree, I don't know which. They're done. As you can see, they're past their prime. They are completely finished. Hey, so this is the Sengokaku right now, also known as a coral bark Japanese maple. It normally has some bright red bark on its trunk, but right now this one kind of doesn't so much. But this is its fall color right now. it always turns this kind of like creamy yellow combined right now with a kind of like a blush pink. This isn't the most absolute beautiful version of a Sengokaku, but I thought I would share anyway. You can also see that sun really does make a difference. The leaves that are here in the sunshine have started to change, whereas the ones back there in the back are still that chartreuse green from the summer. So yeah, I thought I would share. This is the Sengokaku in its fall color. All right, so come around to this side with me.
Okay.
So this is exciting. Look how red this Tamukiyama is. It's so bright. I'm so excited. When we recorded some video earlier, it wasn't quite that nice. And I think that was a couple of days ago. And then now I think it's kind of at its peak brightness.
Here, let me come up to it.
Yeah, look at that.
That is very red.
Yeah, and also when you just shoot through the leaves on the underside, it always makes it look brighter than it really is.
Well, and this is our taller Tamukiyama.
Yes, and I'm really excited about that because, you know, a lot of times you get Tamukiyamas and they're short and, you know, they're short and they're kind of spready. This one has already got its height on it, and so I'm really looking forward to that. This one will be really tall and then it'll just like just
Okay.
sound effects.
What about the Japanese maple behind it?
This one behind it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go over there. This is our one of two geisha gone wilds. Sometimes also called Shiraz. Those are different, but they almost look identical. So this is a geisha gone wild. This tree is a beautiful, crazy, vibrant magenta in the spring. And so its fall color isn't as primary red as that Tamukiyama. Actually, look at that Tamukiyama from here. Come over here and look at it this way against the building.
Against the
Got
building.
distracted. That's so nice. Look how bright red that is. I wish it was that bright red all year long, but anyway.
Not
so
area.
not going to happen. But it is red. It does hold its red during the summer nicely, like some other ones don't.
And it does put on a good bit of growth rate too, the Tamukiyama, which is this one. The Tamukiyama will push out anywhere from a foot to maybe 2 feet a year. Like it can grow quite a bit.
And when we bought that one, it was, I think, around that tall, but all of its little limbs were like little stubby limbs for transportation purposes, and now it's just working on getting those out. Anyway, back to Geisha Gone Wild.
Which has not grown like the Tamukiyama.
This is like the size we bought it, and it's been several years. I don't know if it's the cultivar or this particular tree or where we have it. It gets a nice little, you can see right here, there's a little shaft of shade from this pine tree, and we positioned this right in the line of the shade so it didn't get too much sun, and it stays pretty consistent. But the magenta pink of the spring kind of translates a little bit to the magenta in the fall, where this fall color is a little bit more pink than the primary red of the Tamukiyama. So it's kind of one of those things where you would look at it and say, oh, that's a red Japanese maple in the fall, until you compare it to the
Something
Tamukiyama.
more red. Yeah.
Something more red, yep.
All right.
So
here, let's trade for a second. I want to show them another cryptomeria.
okay.
All right. So another cryptomeria, or a Japanese cedar. This right here. So this is a cryptomeria that's in too much shade. I just thought I'd show this because this is kind of nice to see. So this cryptomeria, it's in maybe 4 hours of sun a day, which it really wants full sun, and full sun is at least 6 hours a day. So I just want to show, like, this was planted at the same time as the other one we just showed you,
And
where it was much taller than me.
it's like a foot and a half.
This has grown, but not a lot.
Yeah.
So for us in our zone, what we might do is actually move this and put a camellia here instead. A camellia would grow faster than this thing is.
I mean, that's questionable.
No, it
like,
would. It would. Once it's established, camellias take a few years to get established, but once they're established, they'll push quite a bit. Like your Anna's mother's camellia can push 3 feet a year sometimes. So remember,
it's very established. Yeah, that's true.
It's 15 or 25 years established, but it really grows. And same for around these Sengokaku. They don't get very much sun. And we're thinking about maybe putting camellias around here too.
Yeah, right now they look like they're in a lot of sun, but this is just the angle of the late fall, early winter sun, usually there's quite a bit of shade right here.
But to be clear, the large Sengokaku that's over there is far too big to move at this point. The others I can move pretty easily, but that big one is there. So, so other things. Here is a what was it?
Oh,
Amber. It was an amber glow.
amber glowed redwood, dawn redwood.
I can't meet you down there, but it's an amber glow dawn redwood,
Right now it's a stick.
and it died. So
Damn.
it was in again about 4 hours of sun, and that just wasn't enough for it. It also wasn't getting drip water this year, and it was really inexpensive. We thought we'd give it a try. We have all the gold rush dawn redwoods that seem to do better. So
And an
just
amber
FYI.
glow is just a slower growing version of the gold rush dawn
Right, and
redwood.
there's a new one that's coming out that's supposed to be instead of the gold rush tends to have fastigious growth or upward growth on a lot of its branches,
Hmm.
and there's a new one coming out. I don't know its name right now, but it will kind of droop more like a deodar.
Ooh, fancy.
So here are more deodars here.
And these are just the standard no name deodars.
These are these are you would call them seedlings in the Japanese maple world. They're just regular deodars. So they do a pretty good job of being pretty full. They are fairly blue at this point right now. It's still blue-green, but it's still fairly blue. And we have this whole row here for blocking. And again, when we planted these 3 years ago or so, they were at my height or a little bit shorter. And right now it's got to be over 10 feet at the top.
Here's some more of them. Yep.
So they
Whole
push
bunch
at
right here.
least 2 to 3 feet a year. And they get to be very large trees. Deodars can get to be 50 feet tall, 30 feet across at least. They get very, very, very large.
All right, so what's happening over here?
Well, this is a summer gold Japanese maple. Now we have footage from earlier where it was not so finished. The sun is summer gold. And so this is summer gold. It gets the same amount of sun, about 12 to 13 hours, which is a lot for a Japanese maple. And it is a kind of vibrant red pink to my eyes. What do you see?
Yeah, it's kind of similar. Let's look at these three right here. So this is summer gold, which is normally a chartreuse color in the summer, which is
Yes.
interesting that turns this red instead of like a yellow. And then you've got Geisha Gone Wild back there, and then you have a Tamukiyama. So compared to the rest of the yard, well, we can get into this in a bit, that like this has way more sun and things are turning over
Right.
here.
Here, come see this little area here of this.
And we even skipped over and didn't even mention the summer golds that were like over here because they're just not doing anything, whereas this one's going to town.
Right. And again, this one is in so much sun here compared to the others. Like I was saying, some of the things that are in sun, we've noticed that some of them turn earlier than the ones that are in a little bit more shade. Okay, here, let's trade again.
Okay,
What's the next Japanese maple, Anna?
this is a purple ghost, and I want to say it's having a hard time this fall. Like I expected more from this, honestly. Purple Ghost is this wonderful, like popsicle purple in the spring. It's like one of our favorites. It's a reticulated Japanese maple, and so much so that we liked it that we put one in our front planter bed as well. One of the few that we had, we moved it up there because we thought it needed something. So this fall kind of meh. It almost looks like this tree has lost a majority of its leaves already.
Well,
Um,
it is in a lot of sun. So it's in about 12 hours of sun.
yeah, this one could be having a really hard.
This is what happens to a lot of our fall. Like this is more of a representative of our normal fall. And what happens here, let me come up
It
so
may
I
have
can
lost a
actually
bunch
see
of
it.
leaves at the end of summer because it looks
So
awful sparse.
what happens to our normal fall is we'll have leaves that have started to go, but there's other ones that have already curled up. They usually don't all hold on to be a
And then
beautiful color.
down here we're straight up green still.
Yeah. So just something to show like what these can look like. Here's what it could look like though. And when you're seeing these little tips, here, Anna, let's point out these tips. When you're seeing these tips here right at
Little
the
burnt
end,
bits.
that's it getting burned throughout the year. Like that's not from necessarily the fall. That's probably from it seeing a little bit too much heat during the summer.
Yeah.
So if you ever see that
So,
on your Japanese maples, it is totally normal.
but so the point is that purple ghost turns a red in the fall.
Yeah. All right, and behind Anna, before we get to the Octus trichonis, I just want to show you these big yellow trees in the background. These are hickory trees.
Yeah.
There may be some beech trees amongst them, but the primary large yellow leaves that you're seeing back there are hickory.
And they are really pretty against that deodar right
Yeah,
there.
the
Look at
deodar
that.
with the hickory, it's like we almost planned it.
Yeah.
Because we did.
And that particular deodar is a little bit more blue than these two others right here.
It's a little bit more full too, so I bet it gets just a little bit more
Yeah, it
sun.
probably gets a little bit more sun. It probably that's probably its new growth for this year compared to the other ones.
All right, what's next, Anna?
This is Oculus draconis. And Oculus draconis is really spectacular in the height of summer. It's Oculus draconis, dragon's eye,
It's a
red pine.
Japanese red pine, yep.
And so Oculus draconis, we've covered this before, but when you look down the center, it kind of looks like a dragon's eye.
Let me get even closer. Here we go.
So you've got this kind of striped needle on the Oculus draconis.
And right now it's starting to go into its ugly duckling phase.
Yeah, so it's starting to lose some of its needles. Its normal yearly needle drop is starting to happen. This like creamy greenish cream color is normally more vibrant in the summer, and it's so in the winter it just kind of like fades out to a green, and they kind of have an ugly duckling phase in the fall and winter a little
Yeah,
bit.
they start to look like they're dying.
Yeah, you start to get very concerned. This particular tree, we were waiting to see which branches had actually died before we pruned them off to confirm that there are actually some dead branches. Gave it a little bit of time, so now we can do some pruning to make it little nicer.
Okay. So here is another Gold Rush Dawn Redwood.
Yeah, so here's a Gold Rush John Redwood, and it's like I don't want to touch it because if I touch it, I think the whole thing will just go poof like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Uh, it's in its full kind of bronzy, peachy color right now, and it's super pretty. This tree we planted a year after the other one we showed you, so it's not as big. I mean, it's just a little bit taller than I am. And
Well, and
also
it
this,
was, when we planted it, it was a little bit shorter than you are, I
yeah.
think.
So it's grown, but it's just that one we gave it a lot of water, and then this one we didn't give it so much water.
That's right. I'm thinking next year to just to have a water line come out just to it.
Yeah. So really pretty soft orange on this tree right now. All right.
And here's one more deodar right here. And then
Deodar.
what is this guy that's super dark colored Japanese maple?
This is who are you? Pixie.
A pixie.
This is a pixie. And so actually, I didn't really even notice this until I got like super close. So the exterior of the pixie is almost like a purple, and on the inside is the bright red in here. And actually,
Oh, really?
yeah, like so this is kind of the reverse of a lot of the other ones. It's turning on the inside, and there's this little stink bug right there.
Oh, that's not good.
The inside is bright red, and the exterior is the purple, which is the opposite. All the other ones, it's so weird and interesting. All the other ones turn on the exterior leaves that get the sun first. So this is like very cool. Like, look, it's like pretty consistent. Like all the interior is turning first. That's fun.
That is pretty neat.
Yeah, that's really neat and weird. Pixie is so fun. Like this particular pixie.
I can come around to the sun side.
Yeah. This particular pixie is so interesting in its shape. It's so clumpy. I don't know if that's true for all pixies or if it's this particular one.
Well, our other one down over there just tends to push one branch at a time.
Yeah.
This one seems to grow pretty uniformly, and it's probably grown at least 3 feet since we got it. So it's growing about a foot a year.
I'm almost saying it's almost like it's doing a cloud pruning on itself, where it's kind of like these clumpy bits.
Well, I mean, yeah, cloud pruning was inspired from nature, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like we haven't pruned this or air layered this particular one. So this is just the way this is growing. We might need to get in here and make it a little less crowded from crossing branches. But
I was just thinking that. I was like, we haven't pruned or air layered it yet.
yeah, because we have a branch that's in here that's growing pretty close to the others. This branch right here, which would be sad to take that out. Really sad to move it.
All right.
So anyway.
All right, here, let's keep going. That ginkgo went earlier.
This is a sunstream ginkgo biloba. It went so early, I was concerned that it was dying. It just like all its leaves kind of like drooped and dropped off. So maybe dead. Don't know.
No, it's not. People are gonna be watching this like, why are you showing us a stick?
Yeah.
It wasn't a stick earlier, y'all.
It wasn't. It was a ginkgo, I swear.
All right, and we're coming this way. Let's see here. Over here, we have more patty phase. Those are the deodars in the front, which are those guys are patty phase, the ones that are more blue.
And then
Cryptomeria in the background.
Yoshino. Yeah.
And these guys have grown. They've grown at different rates. Like this one really, that that patty fay took off. Uh, and then Anna, go stand next to the patty fay. So we just planted the patty fay like this past spring, right? Or fall? Like it was there recent.
I think it was this year.
And they were not this tall at all.
No, so
They were, ooh, we should try to find footage and just put it in here of how tall they actually were when we
yeah,
planted it.
yeah. So well, some were different. Some were like a foot or so different. They weren't all perfectly the same height.
Right.
But there's some growth. I mean, you can see the new growth is more of this frosty blue color, as opposed to this more primary green, less frosty blue. So that's
Can
what
you go stand next to a cryptomeria just to show like the size of it in the sun?
you want me to stand next to the
Sure,
big
go
one or
whichever
this?
one. So this is about 9 hours of sun back here, just to give everybody an idea.
And
And
these were here, I would say. They were shorter than us.
oh, I can't see your hand to show.
Here.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
they were a little bit shorter than us. That one has 2 liters, so it's going to probably grow a little slower than the others. If you go over to one with the 1
Yeah.
liter, we put the 2 liter one there because it would block wider, and that was kind of what we wanted
I'm
there.
gonna make sure I don't run into any spider webs.
No
Okay,
spiders.
no
Okay.
spiders.
Here, where are you going?
Here, I'm to this one. This one's way taller.
Okay,
Look how tall this one is.
there you go. So
So
that's how tall.
yeah. And so we had these here for years. And during the winter time, our back neighbors, we went over to their property to look through these woods because these woods here in the summer you can't see through them, but then everything loses its leaves and you can easily see through. So there's a children's play area back here, and so we were looking through the woods when all the trees had lost their leaves, and we're like, you know what, you could still clearly see through these. We didn't want to plant these too close to each other, and I feel like this spacing is probably appropriate, but you could still see straight through. So we did a kind of a zigzag with these and the Patty Fay deodars.
Right. So this patty fay is kind of between
Yeah.
the cryptomeria. All
And
right, let's keep on going with the rest of the tour.
okay.
Oh, and here's one of those hickory trees closer up. They're very prolific. They make a lot.
I mean, that's a stump I've whacked a couple
Oh,
of
is this a
times.
stump?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a stump I've chopped several times.
Just so people can see what they look like. Hickory is a good wood, by the way, for woodworking.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here.
So I have done some weeding, but these were all spiny, pokey, like
There's
vines.
Similac. Simlac. They're
I
the
don't know if these
really
are.
terrible pointy vines.
Anyway, I wasn't gonna kill my hands with weeding these, so they're still here. They're winning. They're winning the battle. This is our pseudo-larix, and we will most definitely will show you some footage from earlier when it was its pretty color. So it's already lost all of its needles for the year.
Right.
Um,
And it is one of our first to go.
Yeah.
Every year.
Hey, so this is our pseudo-larix amabilis, otherwise known as a false larch. This is October 19th, and we are in the south. We can't have real larch trees here, so this is what we have is a false larch. And this is probably near the peak of its fall color. So normally it's a chartreuse color during the spring and summer, and in the fall it turns to this kind of yellow color and to this like rusty orange, kind of similar to a bald cypress. And then it will like drop all its leaves. So it kind of goes through this whole change from bottom to top in about the matter of like a week or so. And so right now we are just at the very beginning where these bottom leaves are turning to this, like they're starting to dry out and drop a little bit. If I touch them, yeah, they're just starting to fall off if I touch them, not on their own yet, but they're almost there. So yeah, this is one of the first trees to change color for us in the fall, along with a couple of dogwoods, but this is by far the most vibrant. Everything else is still summer green, and this is a shining beacon in our yard. Hey, so now it is October 26th, and here is a pseudo-larix update. So now the whole tree has gone through its color transformation, and it is now this beautiful kind of rusty orange, kind of like how you see on a bald cypress. And if I were to touch this, I'm sure all of these would fall off. So let's do it. Okay, all right.
Hold on. I'll get above it. Okay, go
Okay.
for it.
Look at that. It's just waiting for the wind or something. Like, so this thing's gonna be bald in no time. So
yeah, there if it rains.
yeah, and we've had a really dry couple of weeks, so usually what happens is that the rain knocks all the needles off, and then we don't get to enjoy it for this long. But this has been quite nice. It's been dry, and except for those that I just knocked off just there, it's looking really pretty. Yeah, and actually, we were just at the National Arboretum in Washington, D.C., and they had a really pretty forest landscape bonsai of some pseudolyrics. So I took a photo of that. Maybe we can put that in there too. So that was cool. It was right when they were all changing colors, right before they dropped their needles. So that was fun. Okay, so pseudolyrics, bunch of sticks right now. And then who do we have over here?
All right, so this is another Skeeter's broom. This one is not as far along in its fall, dropping the leaves, going into dormancy as the other one that we just looked at where we started. So this is a Skeeter's broom. Again, it turns a vibrant red. This one actually stayed the most red for us throughout the year out of any of them. And it gets probably about 7 to 8 hours of sun here, just to give an idea. So there are some really red spots like right there, but then it's a lot of not red yet.
Yeah, and a lot of green in there too still.
Yeah, so
So
they're
it's
still
just kind
going.
of a mix.
And you can see here, even over here, you can see that its leaves are curling already, even though it hasn't really reached a peak fall color yet. And talking about peak fall color, here is our Reuben Japanese maple. So Reuben is, it comes out a very like salmon pink color.
Hmm.
And right now, what color is it, Anna? I
It's
see some.
it's I think it's kind of similar to its spring color, just a little more rough looking. So there's some salmon in there. It's definitely not red. It's definitely not orange. It's kind of that salmon color. And then back there is the green where the inner part hasn't started to change yet.
Right.
But then
And
you
then
have the curling of the leaves like they're kind of done up
right, so
here.
some are done. I mean, this is what I'm sure a lot of people's trees do this, but this is what a lot of ours do, is they'll start to curl at the top before the other part of the tree has even thought about changing colors. So it is a very pretty tree. I highly recommend it. It's growing really well. It's growing about a foot a year or so. Maybe some years it grows more, some years a little bit less.
Well, and its growth habit is really like wide,
Well, okay. Here, I'll come to that side. Wait, I gotta go not that way.
not through the spider.
There's a Joro spider over there. Okay, I'll go over here. So
And
this guy is interesting. Okay, so the Reuben wants to grow laterally, horizontally. It doesn't really want to grow up. So what we've done with this Reuben multiple times is we've tilted it up in the way it was growing. So it wanted to, like, it's not naturally going up. It wants to be horizontal, and then you just replant it at a shifted
so
angle
this tree
to
right
make it
here
go
was
up.
kind of like that originally, and then we like moved it upright like this.
Right. And it's grown to where, I mean, the leaves are gonna face the sun, which is this way. So it's trying to grow that way a little bit. But just something to know is that we have done a little bit of modification to this tree to make it look the way we
Well,
want it to.
and this we moved here to this location. It was actually flipped around facing the opposite way, and it was like right over here before,
Right.
and we just moved it over here. It was a little too crowded, and it looked very too
Well,
similar to that
and we're gonna
termite
do
generation.
future stuff here. We're hoping to. So we wanted to go ahead and clear it out before it got too big. Because right now it is, that caliper is quite big at this
Yeah, I
point.
don't think we're moving this anymore.
I don't think we're moving anymore. So here is a Siriu. So this is another Siriu Japanese maple. Again, not fully grown. It gets a lot bigger than this. But I see some red here when I'm looking through it. It's totally green at the bottom, but I do see some red up top. So Siriu is known for going to a fire engine red throughout the whole tree. I don't think for us it does it every year, but if you're in a climate where your leaves change like all at once and faster, you might get that really fire engine red across the whole
And it
tree.
has happened before, and it's happening a little bit at the tips, but right now I don't know if we'll see in a couple of days if it really gets like crazy or not.
Okay, so this is a Gimborn's ideal Japanese white pine, which is Pinus parviflora for anybody that wants to know the scientific name. Gimborn's ideal. So it naturally does an undulation back and forth. I'm a little concerned. Our Siriu, when we planted this, the Siriu wasn't as over it as it is now. So they're gonna collide at some point. Um,
See who wins.
and it does have its fall needle. So if you're not used to Japanese white pines or pines in general, it does have needle, call it needle cast or fall needles. And that's, let me see if I can find any. So here's just the brown needles inside. And that's where your needles come from when you see pine straw. This is the same thing. Like they're not cutting down trees to get pine straw. At least I hope they aren't. Um,
No, they're not.
unlike how they make wreaths out of eastern white pines, which is a
Yeah,
crime.
but like look at this cool, like just where are we? Like it's this kind of like multicolor action happening in here. That's really neat.
Yeah. And this is about as blue as we can get for pines where we are in zone 8A. our blues tend to melt away. So this is pretty blue. Patty Fay might be a little bit more blue, but it's a really neat sculptural aspect to our garden.
Yeah, it really is. And we haven't done any pruning on this. This is just the way it's shaped. It kind of has this undulating back and forth action, and it's just a really cool tree.
We had planned to put that closer to the house. These don't get humongous. I mean, they could get double the height, but over 20 years.
Yeah, so these might be really nice against a building.
Yeah, Gimborn's ideal. I would definitely recommend putting it near a building. For us, our building that we want to have wasn't there. We just built the Japanese shed, and it doesn't have enough sun for this. You want to have at least 6 hours of sun for it, minimum. I wouldn't go much past 10 or 11, though, of direct, unfiltered sun. Should say, when I'm saying sun, I mean direct, unfiltered, nothing above sun.
Okay, where are we going?
All right, here's this guy.
Oh, back over here.
He's starting to turn.
Yeah.
This is a Shishi Gashira Japanese maple, or a, what is it, lion's mane is what it's known for?
Yep.
So it turns a vibrant red, and it's just starting. You can see it here, just starting at the very tips. But this one, typically it does turn all the way red rather than curling up entirely before it gets to that color.
Well, it's already kind of crunchy looking in the first place.
Well, it's kind of, yeah, it's how it looks. And the fun part about this one, so we have this red here in the fall, and it should be accented with the blue of the Patty Fay behind. That'll be really neat. Same with the Cereal. Like, we're trying to play with colors and have different color combinations. So when you look out, you see all of, you know, it's nice. It looks good. It looks pleasant. We're trying to do sun landscape design here.
I'm gonna give this to you.
Okay. Let's change. Okay.
Look at this. This is Germain's gyration, and we were told it was one of the quickest growing weeping lace leaf Japanese maples. It has grown quite a bit. When we purchased this, we were able to put it in the back seat of a rental truck, not the truck bed, but like the back seat area.
Inside. It was able to go inside the
cab of the truck. So this has grown quite a lot.
And we've had it for about 7 or 8 years, though.
Let me see if I can find the tag.
Let me go along to the front. It's on that branch over there.
Can you find the tag?
Yeah, it's over on the far branch.
Let me see. This we purchased 2015.
2015, it is 2023.
Math.
I can't, that's not math. I don't know. That's 5, 6, 7, 8 years? 8 years.
Ooh, look at me doing math. So this is Germain's gyration. It does its natural like curving on its own. We haven't trained this tree at all. It just has this beautiful natural like curve this way, this way, this way. It's just doing its own thing. And I think it's doing a little bit of self-pruning because it looks like it's abandoned this branch right here.
It's a bit known for this. This is why it's Germain's gyration. It's known for the gyrating around. And so this branch, I mean, I can probably pull it right off.
There it goes. And actually, that's a good choice. I agree with the tree.
Yeah, that was a good choice, tree.
Good choice, tree. Yeah, there's a few in here. Yep. It's just,
yep. So yeah, it naturally will prune off. I mean, most Japanese maples will lose branches they're not interested in. This one tends to do it in a way that's really nice.
So you can see this is the summer color, this just average green in the summer, and then this is turning to this pretty yellow. And I would say definitely I would categorize this as a yellow, even though there's like little hints of tiny bits of like blush.
There's a little bit of orange in it. Yeah.
There is, but like from when you take a step back and look at it, you're like, oh, yellow.
Yeah, when you see this from far away.
And it's a little bit more yellow from this perspective. This perspective hasn't started changing as much. And a couple of days ago, it wasn't even this far along. So
right.
It was not as remarkable a couple of days ago.
All right, let's go to the pixie behind it.
Okay.
So, and again, this is a yellow. So we have the yellow where Anna is, accented by the red to the side and the blues in the background. So that is our goal.
Yeah, here
we have another Oculus draconis back there. Here, I can just show it from here. It's in its ugly duckling phase. It's not doing great right now. It's lost a lot of branching, but we're hoping that it'll push up and continue to be interesting with time. I
almost say that might be a different variety.
I think it is.
I think it's kind of more of like, looks like reminds me of porcupine quills a little bit. Like it's just like this like banding. It's not like green, cream, green. It's kind of like more frequent banding.
I think it's definitely a Japanese red pine. I think it's just
a different variety.
It's just really struggling there.
we got it in an ultra sales section of a nursery.
Yeah, it was
So
$10.
we didn't with labels. We just knew what it was, an Oculus draconis.
Okay, let's
Here,
keep it going.
look at this direction, by the way. Come
All right,
where I
this
am.
here,
Just look that way.
look this way, Anna says.
Yeah.
There you go, looking this way.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the Pixie.
Gimborn's ideal.
Another Gimborns.
And oh, sorry for all the leaf crunchy noises. Hopefully it's not terrible, but I acknowledge that there might be some crunchy right now.
Leaves are good for nature.
They are. So this is the other pixie that we have. It's weird in the fact that this particular one's growth habit goes like 1 year it's like pew this way, and 1 year it's like pew this way, and like it puts all its effort into like one crazy whip and then another crazy whip. So it's a weird shape. That other one was this cool, nice, compact, like cloudy
I
prettiness.
like this one. I think
Oh, I
this is
know.
Pixie's
This
actually
one,
natural shape.
I,
It's grafted extremely low.
yes. So it's got a lot of branching from this point on down here. So it's kind of like a split, split, split in this one. So it's kind of got a really low like action here. Um,
This was our first Pixie that we had.
yeah.
We got it on clearance from somebody he really didn't think it would even live much for longer. I think that was Byron Baxter.
I don't remember any
I
of
think
that.
it was. And he was like, that's not going to live, but it did. And it's done
Okay.
great. And you can see the new growth here. Here, look at this, Anna.
What? I'm
I'm looking for spiders. Okay.
this? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
look at
being
this.
paranoid about spiders.
Look at this
This,
growth right here.
all of that.
So all that was
1
this
year.
year's growth. That's got to be at least 3 feet there,
Yeah, 4.
as Anna tries to
I'm
measure.
like, come over here for the color though.
Okay, okay.
All right, if you come right where I am and just look this way, through the spider webs.
Through the spider web.
So
There's
it's your variety of stages here, like in there.
Here, you're not the color. Here, we're gonna trade.
Okay, I'll
Okay,
take the camera.
Hannah has it now.
Okay, so down here, you've got some green, you've got some bright red with some splotchies, you've got some purpley maroons, and you've got your already finished curled up leaves. So this guy has got all the stages. So this is Pixie. All right, then what do you have over here?
We have a Megitsu.
Yeah.
So this is Megitsu Japanese maple. I should say we have two. One might be a seedling. We're not sure. They don't look the exact same, and that indicates one might be wrong. But anyway, this is the Megitsu. Come look at this color from above. It is really amazing. We're a little bit past its prime. It's been raining for the last several days, so it was its prime while it was raining.
I would say not just orange, but pumpkin.
Yeah, it's really a showstopper.
And with the leaves being so broad and wide and stuff, that you get a lot of like
Oh,
power.
here, then the leaves get bigger than this. Here, I'll put my hand next to this one.
Okay.
That's a good idea of how large the leaf is. And this is a Japanese maple.
Yeah, it's really fun and unique in that way. It's just very different scale for the leaves.
It doesn't seem to grow very much. It grows, I mean, here's the growth this year, about 6 inches or so. It doesn't seem to have a huge growth rate, but it is growing in all directions.
Well, we could have gotten thrown off because I think some deer came by 1 year and
One year they did. And so we really like this. So this is similar to dancing peacock or a contifolium. The leaves are a little bit different. And I'd say in a contifolium, you get a little bit more color variation. Whereas right now, this is really pretty much all this pumpkin color and a little bit of yellow coming in. But it's this red, yellow, orangey color. It's really nice.
Yeah, and that really, I think, is the distinctive difference. I mean, they do look different when you look at the leaves, when you hold them up against each other, but this is this nice, solid pumpkin orange, and Dancing Peacock does have that multicolor.
And this is known for as it ages, the leaves get bigger. So here's like one here. I don't know if you want to show this. Like this one is much bigger. It's about the size of my hand. Like their leaves will get very, very large. And as they get older and more mature, they're known for putting out larger leaves, as far as I know. But we'll see as they grow. Let's see. Okay, other things. Okay, so now we just looked at Megitsu. So now we're at the back of the yard. This is a camellia. This is a Kamagai Nagoya camellia. It is known for basically good growth. It's not really known for its flowers. However, it has grown a fair amount. I think it was no taller than this when we planted it.
Yeah, this one they use a lot of times for rootstock for grafting.
And it's got at least a foot growth here. That's more than a foot. It's probably 16 inches or so there. for a young camellia. That's really, really good.
And I'm gonna have to say for our winter tour, you know, I think it's just gonna be like all
All
camellias
camellias.
because everything else is just gonna be like meh.
I guess we're doing a winter tour.
Oh,
Uh,
and I would like to say that over here,
yeah.
this is where we have our camellias back here. We're going to put a few more back here for blocking purposes, but we're camellias over here because on this side it's more shady, and then this side we have more sun. So that's where the Patyphae, Deodars, and the Cryptomeria Yoshinos are. So that side a little bit more sun, this side a bit more shade.
Right. All right. So next up is this bihu, Japanese maple. So bihus have a lot of dieback. I don't know if you know about them, but they also have yellow bark. So they are known for their winter color, which is the yellow bark during the winter. Uh,
Not so yellow right now. There's a
as it
little
gets
bit.
older, the bark turns this kind of other color. This is almost a lichen that's on it right now, which is fine. That's healthy for it, or says things are healthy. But it's known for this yellow bark. It's usually only on new growth, and some people will
That doesn't
prune
look
this
so
way
good
back.
at the bottom there. That looks questionable down there at the roots.
Some people will prune these back to get a lot of new growth that looks very yellow. They'll do a hard prune, like I mean down here they would prune it. We might try that this year because it really hasn't grown much since being here, and it is in the right amount of sun. It should be happy, but this was one of the first to go. It just turns a yellow leaf, kind of similar to a sengokaku or coral bark, and so just something to know. It is okay.
Yeah, not
A lot of people
great.
don't like Bihu because it tends to have this dieback. It's not the strongest cultivar. Okay, keep it on going.
All right.
This is our red seedling.
All right.
So this is a red seedling. We got this one from Mr. Maple years ago. And it's just a seedling that was there. It was a fraction of this size. We've had it for years and years. And it turns a kind of very vibrant red. Here, you can see this branch here. Very vibrant red during the fall.
And not
Um,
as intense as the Tamukiyama, still kind of leaning toward that dusty, soft red.
but you can notice it from quite a ways away.
Yeah, it definitely is a standout against all the greenery and the woods back here.
All right, so we'll keep on going. Don't mind our mess here, y'all. So we are doing construction. I don't even know if you noticed the shed we built. If you
Like
haven't
that over there.
seen all of our videos, we have 32 videos in this series of building that shed. I would strongly recommend you check them out if you haven't already. We also have time lapses and everything like that showing the overall build. So this is a stump that keeps coming back. We got to cut this away.
Yeah,
But this,
that shot up out of nowhere.
yeah, it really shot up this year. So this is another pixie Japanese maple here with a vine on it with thorns.
I might have to come around to the other side. Hold on.
Okay, sure.
All right, Pixie.
So this is a pixie. It's younger than the other ones. And it's doing okay. It does have some red. I'm seeing some red on the sleeves, but I'm not sure. I bet you can see it a lot better than I
well,
can.
and this one's doing the same thing as the other Pixie, where it's maroon on the exterior and it's changing. The inner part is starting to change, and that's really pretty. It's got this pretty maroon right here, and the color change on the inside, which is the opposite of most of the other ones. So that's really cool. Just a different thing that's happening.
Okay, with continuing on with the back of our yard tour. So, all this lumber is just stuff we're gonna burn. It's all perfectly fine to burn. It's not the PT stuff. At least most of it's not. So this is a ukigumo, also known as, what is it?
Floating cloud.
Floating cloud. And it was really brilliant just a little bit ago. I think we do have footage of that. Okay,
Oh, Ukigomo.
look at the ukigumos. Look at this. That's all right. So I've been fairly disappointed with the ukigumos that we've had. Ours are a little bit more green instead of the white flecks that you see
Well,
on other
a lot
people's.
more.
I keep on thinking maybe if I just give them time, they'll get better. I think I should plant some right next to it, right?
Mm,
Plant joke time. Anyway, all right.
no.
So look, it's all yellow. At least that's what my eyes see.
Yep.
This is really nice and really big, and they're known as floating clouds. So ukigumo is also known as floating cloud, and they're known for that because they have the white leaves, but also because they have kind of a floating cloud kind of growth habit. So they tend to have these like where they have the major branches that come out and they make little clouds of themselves.
Let's see. Let me get a little close. So that's a kind of a fun shaped leaf. It's kind of squiggly and wiggly. So those are fun.
We also have over here a another cereus. This is technically a cereus seedling, I think. but it has the vibrant red color. There's just no graft. So this one was probably the most red of all of our cereus this year. And behind it, we have a Sangokaku air layer and more Camellias.
So this is a Cereus seedling, not an air layer, right?
And it is red. I don't know if
So
you guys can see this.
this is how red our other Cereus were at the other house before we transplanted them. I have a photo somewhere of them being like this fire engine red. Right now, the other two, the original two that we had, the big ones, they're just kind of maroon. But this is what they should change to, and it's been sad because of previous years they really haven't done this much color. So
Right,
it's
this one is really, really
super.
red right now. And I've seen a tree like this that's about 40 feet tall, a cereal,
Mhm.
30 or 40. It was huge. And it was all red like this. And this is the exact combination we're trying to have, where we have the red in the foreground and the yellow in the background of the Sangokaku. That's really a nice color
Well, and
combination.
we're thinking about what we're looking at from the house, but also when you walk around the yard, what you're seeing.
Right, so here. So then let's go back this way
Okay.
and we'll keep on going. Now I know we have footage of this one.
Look, this is amazing color for us. Usually all our leaves are just shriveled up and from the heat, and it's just like green and then shriveled leaves and then blah and then brown. So this is spectacular. This is a Megitsu. And right now we've got like this beautiful rainbow of colors. So right now we still have our nice summer green, and we've got like this pumpkin orange and red. And then look at this one over here. Look at that red right there. So oh, look at the red and the green right here on this one. That's fun because it's not just a change from green to yellow to orange to red. It's just green and red on this one leaf. That's crazy. Look how pretty this is. This is just really exciting. Usually our fall is kind of mediocre. And right now this tree, this one and the Jordan air layer and the pseudolyrics are really the only things that are turning right now in our yard. Everything else is just kind of its summer color.
Here, let me show everybody. So here's the yard. You can see everything just isn't quite turning yet. You can see the pseudolyrics back there. There's
Oh,
a
the
couple of trees like the
yeah,
poplars.
the Sangokakus are turning, but they're not really super great right now. But yeah, the tulip poplars are turning. Those aren't things that we planted though. So, but
Right.
look at this.
So this is the Megitsu.
Look at the Megitsu.
What day is it again?
It's October 26, 2023. So this is towards the end of October. A lot of times for where we're located, we hit our fall color height the second week of November. So this is, I don't know for this particular one if it's early, but the rest of the yard isn't changing yet. So it's just the Megitsu, pseudolyrics, our potted air layer, which is a Jordan, and that's mostly it, other than native trees that are kind of around that we didn't plant.
And this is in a contifolium. It also looked better earlier.
Yeah, it
So
just
this
looks
is
like a bunch of nothing
dancing
right now.
peacock. Well, you can see some leaves still down here.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, there you go.
but this guy has been growing. This actually grew probably about, I don't know, 10 inches this year so far, and at least in this direction here.
You can see the different leaf shape compared to a contifolium versus a Megitsu, and things like that.
Okay. I guess we'll go next to us and then we'll go that way.
Sure.
So next to me here, this is Oridono nishiki, Japanese maple. So Oridono nishiki turns a bright red during the fall. We're a little bit past its prime now. Again, it was raining for 3 days, so its prime was probably a few days ago while it was raining. It did lose leaves at the end where it was new growth. That's fine. It grows about a foot to a foot and a half in most directions every year. Oridono nishiki is supposed to have variegation. Ours really doesn't, except for at the very ends.
And actually, let's see, does it have any variegation in here
No.
at all,
None.
really? So here's a little just tighter of the color.
And this,
Again, soft, kind of soft red, not that super vibrant fire engine. Wow, I'm having a hard time focusing. Okay.
okay, and one other thing, so we're getting towards the edge of the woods here, and when you get towards the edge of the woods, you tend to get the powdery mildew on Japanese maples, at least for us. And so it's coming from above. Even if we put fungicide on it, it comes back the following year because that's where it comes from. If you want to try to get rid of the powdery mildew from coming back, what you want to do is get rid of all the leaves that fall off of it and don't let it go into the root system again.
Yeah, last year I did take a leaf blower and blew everything away. It
Right.
kind of still came back though.
Well, and the problem is that it comes from splashing, I believe. And if it's in the trees above, there's not much you can do to help it with the trees below. So that's why it kind of spreads in near woods, because everything's kind of covering each other. All right, let's go this way. Do you want to trade?
Sure. Here you
Okay.
go. Okay, so this is summer gold. So the summer gold that we had over there from earlier is completely done, and this summer gold is still kind of its summer chartreuse mainly, and it's just starting to change colors. So mainly, and this is a lot more shade over here than the other one. And I would also say during the summer, the other one is a bit more yellow chartreuse, and this one over here is leans more towards the green. So that's the difference in the shade versus more sun. Um, Also, this one not changing as early as the other one.
No, I can see it's starting to change, but it's
Yeah.
not really too
And
much.
so this is kind of more multicolored. There's some yellow in here, interestingly enough. So the other one, full red. This one has some variation here in here. So you've got uh, some
Yeah,
red and a little bit of like maroon and definitely straight up yellow right there. So that's confusing.
I think it's just changing colors. I think it's trying to go red.
It just wants to be red eventually, but
Yeah,
it's going to the red through the yellow. It's
yeah,
going green, yellow, orange, red.
yeah. All right, so what's the one over behind it, over this way, Anna?
This way, over
That
here.
one. Yeah, that one.
Oh, that is Jordan. So the idea with these, where we planted these, is that we would have a summer gold next to a Jordan because they're very similar but different. So they're both very chartreuse trees, and they just kind of have this color swap during the year. So Jordan starts out a little bit more chartreuse at the beginning of the spring, and it goes more of just a regular green, and then the opposite happens with summer gold. It starts out a little bit more regular green and then changes to a more chartreuse throughout the spring.
Okay. I see
So,
somebody red behind you.
well, and this right
Oh,
now, Jordan is kind of this yellow and peachy red, soft red, but not super bright red. All right, so this is a Ryusen Japanese maple. It is in a temporary spot. This is not where it's going to be staying. We just needed a place to put it in the ground, so it was just not in a pot.
and she's talking about this. Is it red right now?
In the
Reddish?
middle, yeah, and this has got a lot of the like powdery
Oh, here's the
mildew.
powdery mildew.
Yes, big time.
If you're wondering what powdery mildew looks like.
Yeah, that's it right there. So
And you can take care of that again with the fungicide. We just haven't this year. We'll try to just keep the leaves away.
So Ryusen is a weeping non-lace leaf Japanese maple. And so we have it trained up against this stake right here to kind of keep this up. You have to train it up or else it'll just, you know, do this. So
It'll just branch down, right?
yeah, it will. It wants to go lateral and weep down. So you have to train it up to get any sort of height. So that's what we're doing right here.
And then to your, over on that side.
Summer golds. So this is another summer gold. We talked about the one over there, this one, and then this is another summer gold. A tiny bit more sun than the one over here, but not as much as the first one we talked about.
Right.
It's still just green, pretty much. I mean, it is
I see some leaves
starting
on
to
the right
change.
side starting to turn, but
It
I think
also
it's
has a ton of these leaves from the trees above, so that's
yeah.
what the brown leaves are in there. Like,
Well, and it also, hold on. Wait. It also gets a ton of these seeds. So summer gold, for some reason, summer gold tends to have a whole bunch of seeds, and they tend to be pretty prolific. Like they actually start up pretty well.
mhm,
We can stratify them over the winter. I guess we could do a video about that at some point about
yeah.
how to stratify them.
And this summer gold was from 2000. I need to take that off of there. 2017 is when we purchased this.
And it was
So
fairly small when we
it's
got it.
fairly small. Yep.
This was a Roger Bell one, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know, this was my favorite of the summer golds because it's a really nice structure to it.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah,
All
if
right,
you can look at the structure. I need to move that label. It's getting too tight.
all right, let's keep on going.
You want to see the, there's that Ordona Nishiki from here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just really, it's nice. It's so much fun seeing all of these trees in their fall color because a lot of them are just kind of a plain green in the summer and they just kind of blend in with the background and you don't notice them. And so in the fall, you're like, wow, look at all these Japanese maples we have. Same thing for the spring too, I suppose. But like that's really, really bright red and I just don't even notice the Ordona Nishiki otherwise. So
Right. Well, you mainly have it for blocking otherwise.
yeah. Here we are. This is another tree that we have in a temporary spot, but we're gonna have to move it pretty darn soon because it is growing like bonkers. So this is an emerald lace Japanese maple. It was not this big when we bought
Here,
it.
stand next to it. Like,
Um,
it was nowhere near this tall. And this is kind of
it
similar
was
to the Reuben. They have a
crazy.
horizontal growth,
Yeah,
and we have tilted it back and forth
yeah,
over
we've
and over
like kind of
to make it actually grow taller.
so instead of staking it, we just keep tricking it and replanting it and keep changing the angle. Um, this is a tree that we wanted to have near-ish a building,
Right.
but we have yet to do that
But it
construction.
has not started to turn yet at all, according to
No,
my eyes.
no, no, no. This
Okay.
is absolutely
All right, well, let's
summer
go to the
going.
one next to it because that's definitely turning.
Look at this. So this is Jordan again, and it's just kind of going in like these kind of cool splotches. So it's got like your green and then like some splotchy bits of yellow and then some splotchy bits of like kind of this pumpkin orange in here. So, and then some leaves that are completely done and finished.
And some that are still green.
Yeah, but like look
Like
down
here's,
here. This is fun. Like they're like it's splotches of color right there, green and yellow. And then over here on this branch, it's kind of you got your green, your yellow, and your kind of orange in there. And unfortunately, a bunch of sprinkling of the brown leaves from above from our tulip poplars.
much taller tulip poplars.
Yeah, so that's just those
But
are going to
those
be.
tulip poplars are what provide enough shade to have all these things here. So where we are, where this Jordan right here, where Anna is, this gets about 4.5 hours of sun,
Yeah.
direct sun,
But yeah, I
and then
acknowledge
has
these
filtered.
two trees are way too close together. This one's not going to stay here.
Right.
So
So it's three. So I was saying, it's 4 to 4.5 hours of direct sun, and then the rest is filtered, high filtered shade.
all right, do you want to swap with me?
Sure. I guess I can. Here you go.
Okay.
Okay, so continuing on, this is our Amber Ghost, which is one of our favorite Japanese maples. So it has a brilliant spring color and it has a very reticulation on it. It's really, really great. This fall for us hasn't really happening yet. I think it does go to a red,
Yeah, let's
but
see. Here's some red.
this is what we say when we say our fall happens kind of like this. You can see about half the leaves have already curled up before they ever turn to color. We did have a 30-degree night. That could be what did it, was that it got down to 30 degrees and those leaves just kind of kicked it. But it may not have a great fall this year.
Yeah, this is looking pretty sad.
But here, we'll keep on going. So this is our viridis Japanese maple. Here, I'll take away a few of these leaves. So these leaves again are coming from above, poplar, tulip poplars and such. So this is viridis. You know it's a viridis versus a waterfall. The viridis turns yellow. And so this is our viridis. It again has some leaves that have started to go, but it's mostly yellow right now. It's a really nice color.
Well, and I would like to point out that, like, look how tall this is compared to you.
Yeah.
This viridis we purchased before that Jarmaine's gyration.
Oh, this viridis is old.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can find
well,
the
old
tag, but
for us.
I don't know if it may have.
This is, I
Here.
think, the second Japanese maple we've ever purchased.
Oh,
It's a nice size.
2014. So this is a 9-year-old tree at this point, right? 2014, and it's 2023.
Yep.
So 9 years since we bought it, and we bought it pretty small. We have always had not the biggest budget for Japanese maples and everything, and especially back then. So I would say we bought it as a twig, and this is about how big it is after 9 years.
So the Jarmaine's gyration did start off probably larger than this tree, but we've had this one longer.
Much longer. Yeah,
But,
the Germain's duration probably grows about, not double, maybe 1.5 times the rate.
yeah.
So other thing that I should note is we have never staked this to make it taller or try to give it any sort of shape, and we haven't ever pruned it. This is just its natural form. We did get it because it had a little undulation when we got it. I do remember that. But this undulation was like, that was like the top of it back there.
Yeah, so it is doing a little bit, but not as much as the Jarmaine's gyration. They're just, easy to compare the two because they're
Well,
almost
here,
identical.
and if you, to go wide here from maybe this angle over here, you can get the Japanese maple with the shed in the background.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. That's obvious. I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah, so we've got this weeping lace leaf and this more upright Aka Shigetsu Sawa.
Okay, so this is Aka Shigetsu Sawa. We also, think when we first got it, we're told it might have been a Benny, but it's a Japanese maple. We're really excited about it. It's in front of the shed. In the spring, it's a beautiful color that it comes out as. Very kind of, what color would you say? Like reddish,
Well, you're right. We've got, it's a
char
reticulated, and so we have it over here with the amber ghost is more of like a papery, like amber color. And then this one is just kind of like a multi pinkish, reddish in the spring.
right. Well, and it's still, I don't think it's turned yet. I mean, my eyes see just green.
No, yeah, it's just green down here. At the
So
very top, there's a couple, like one or two, five,
we'll try to
10
put in here
leaves.
footage of what this looks like in the actually when it starts to go in the fall. So obviously it's one of the last to go. This other thing, we were looking at footage of it from when we first planted it, which we planted it pretty large, and it's gotten way bigger.
Yeah.
So I'm excited though because it mirrors this one over here. This is a Scolopendrifolium Japanese maple here, and so they both kind of come across with a shed in the background. It's like we put that shed there intentionally. We did put these two trees here intentionally before we ever thought about that shed.
Yeah.
And then we built that shed. So anyway, so it's Scolopendrifolium. It turns yellow in the fall. I think the yellow leaves might be up top or somewhere. I can't see any
I
right
mean, at the
now.
very top, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, it's just starting to turn here. Here you go. It's just starting. I guess I'm wrong. This is orange right now, but I'm guess it's going
It's
to
supposed to
yellow.
be yellow, but yes, there is kind of like orange in there.
It's going to yellow.
It, and last year it didn't do anything. It was weird. Last year this and the Hubs red willow, which is right here, which turns red, they didn't change whatsoever last year.
That's right. They didn't. It's little honey hydrangeas. The little honeys, by this point of the year, they're just green. It's fine. They're
The
not.
leaves do turn red in the fall, though.
They do turn red in the fall, don't they?
Hmm.
Okay, so then here's our Hagoromo, Hanezu Hagoromo. It's already done.
Yeah.
It struggled this year, just like it struggles every year. I don't think it loves Zone 8A, to be honest. I don't think I'd recommend this as one to get.
So
If
it's also called
you're
red feather, but we think we have the orange
No, this
version.
is orange feather. That's the Hanezu, or I forget how it's even spelled.
Hanazo.
No, it's definitely Hanezu. Anyway, let's keep on going. So this is a red Japanese maple seedling. So if you ever see like something that just says red Japanese maple, that's probably what they mean. This one is actually green during the year and then turns red in the fall, but it turns a very bright red color.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see this really easily.
And these are kind of smallish leaves. So it's a seedling, so you don't know what you're going to get. And so these leaves are relatively small. They're not the teeny tiniest, but they're also not huge. Next door to this one, we've got one that's kind of a yellow orange that's turning right now, and those leaves are a different shape and larger.
Well, it
And they're
has a
both seedlings.
little bit of a cut leaf, so you can start to guess what cultivars it came from. But I mean, it's just a seedling, and that's kind of how you say with Japanese maple, just a seedling. So this is our row of seedlings here. We also have camellias behind them that will eventually be big and a dark green to give a nice background to these colors.
All right, here, let's trade with me.
Okay,
Okay.
trading. You gonna talk about? Look at this seedling here. No,
Oh, well,
okay,
that's a
ready?
seedling.
All right.
Okay, less exciting.
No, okay, go for it.
Look at this. So right now, I'm going to have to say this seedling is the most spectacular tree currently in our yard. So it's so nice. So as I was saying, the seedling, this red seedling over here has smaller leaves. Look how big these leaves
Hold on.
are.
Let me see. Red. Okay, and then here's the.
Look how large this leaf is. So they're both seedlings. So
Hold on. There we go.
they're both seedlings. So this is how large this leaf is. Just completely
Well,
different
let me show them. I'm gonna
size and
brighten
shape.
this video. Okay, so I'm gonna try to brighten this just to show you guys how bright this really is. It is very vibrant orange.
Oh, we're like probably right at its peak because we're just starting to get a little crispy. This tree really has held on to its leaves really nicely. It's so vibrant. I have some footage from like the window that I can show you of this thing with the summer gold, this yellow seedling, which is kind of a little bit more orange this year. I had it labeled as yellow in the fall, and then the red back here. And also we do have another seedling between these two. This one's just kind of like a meh.
It's alive.
It's alive. It's kind of turning this kind of like papery, whitish yellow kind of color. parchment, I would say. Not as impressive as these two. I almost like missed it. But this one is so crazy. It's really nice. I think when we moved houses, we like dug this one up specifically because it was so pretty in the fall. So
Right.
yeah, it's very pretty.
All right.
All right, over here is Hub's red willow. Now we talked about scolopendropolium back there. This is Hub's red willow. Red in the spring and early summer, turns to green in the summer, and should be a vibrant red in the fall. It's just not there yet. Okay, moving on is another summer gold right here. Not much happening over here. We talked about the other ones, plenty. So over here, though, I'd like to show you this. So this is the other Geisha Gone Wild, and this one in the spring is more of a soft pale magenta, whereas the other one is a vibrant like neon magenta. And this one in the fall in the past has been also kind of a soft color. Right now it's mainly green and it's just starting to turn right here a little bit. Again, kind of like a soft, very dusty red, not very bright. That's pretty much it for right here. All right, moving on. It's dangerous.
Yeah, we put down this plastic to try to kill some weeds.
Yep,
And it worked, but now it's dangerous.
it's kind of slippy.
So here in the foreground, these are all the plants that we got this year to add to the yard. They're mostly dogwoods and a whole bunch of camellias, which we'll get to in a second.
Yep.
Okay, going back to Anna.
So right here are our sad looking butterflies. So they're pretty amazing in the spring, at the early spring, and then they kind of get, they just kind of like defoliate in the summer. These are in only like, what, a couple of hours?
One.
Huh?
They're in
1 hour of sun. This is super, they're not in a lot of sun. This one's looking the best back here. It's got a lot of green on it though.
Yeah, so that's the new growth there.
New growth here. It's got a little bit of reversion there, but yeah, this is looking pretty sad. So I would say butterflies not so great for fall color.
In zone 8A.
In zone 8A, yes, you're correct.
In a colder climate, I bet they look great. I think they turn to a red and it's really nice.
Yeah, I get concerned with them every year because they kind of drop their leaves, but this is just the way they look.
All right, let's keep on going. So here
spring.
are all of the camellias that we got.
Yeah.
These were $1. Here, you can go in there. So they were $1 a gallon, which means that the smaller gallon size ones were $3 and the bigger ones were $7.
Yeah, so that's absolutely crazy. They were just trying to get rid of their inventory, so we bought some. We're going to put them in various places and maybe Christmas gifts. So
all right.
Here's another Jordan right here. It's changing, kind of multicolored, green, yellow, soft reds a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily say red, but orangey.
Yeah, they can see a different colors.
And a bunch of, look at all these seeds.
Oh, here, let me see.
Look at that crazy. I'm just not.
Oh, you lost the seed.
Oh, no, I lost the seed. Oh, no, it
So
doesn't.
Jordan, similar to Summer Gold, Jordan also makes a whole bunch of seeds. They are related to each other, I think.
Here, let me swap with you.
Okay. Sure. Swapping. So we have more camellias over there. Camellias just don't do much in the fall. Usually their flowers are in the spring or in the winter, really, December to February. And sasanquas, which is I don't know it's a camellia still, but it's a sasanqua. Their flowers go in October and November.
Yeah, smaller leaves and earlier blooming.
So these are Twombly's red sentinel Japanese maples. They aren't as red as they get. Right now, they're still coming back from their summer color, which you can tell they kind of go towards the green burgundy color.
Yeah.
So they'll turn a vibrant red eventually, but they are not there yet. They did put on not much growth this year, about 6 inches or so. Sometimes they can put on more. They can put up to 2 feet of growth a year, but not every year's like that.
Yeah, these guys usually are red, but they really are just kind of this maroon color here in all the shade. Oh, there's a little bit of color happening on the interior there. All right, so this is probably what you're most excited about.
So I am excited about these. This is my idea when we plant them. This is a whole row of Sky Tower ginkgo trees. And so the ginkgo tree, if you're not used to it, has a leaf. It's very much a ginkgo leaf. The sky tower, and this is the cultivar, it has more fastigious or upright growth. Should only get about 6 feet wide total, 3 feet out in any direction, and will get about 25 feet tall. However, they're growing anywhere from 6 inches to a foot a year. It's going to take a long time for them to get to that 25-foot height. But the idea here is that we have the camellias behind them. We have the ginkgos in front, which will really stand off the color. We also wanted some height here between us and neighbors. And so that's the other reason that we planted these.
Well, and also these will drop their leaves, so the camellias will keep their leaves in the winter.
Right.
So.
And these potentially could push out more growth if they were in more sun, but this is only about 4 hours of sun here. It ranges a little bit between all of these, but you know, it's doing fine. They're doing okay. Ginkgos aren't known to be the fastest growers anyway. So they're doing okay.
What's nice about these is that they actually are all turning yellow pretty much right now altogether. Last year, which is disappointing, is that they all went at different times. But this year we've got a whole line of yellow right now, which was the whole idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now here's this. So we took
Okay.
some footage of this earlier. We maybe end up using some of it right now, but here we go. So this is the Mikawa Yatsubusa Japanese maple. So this Mikawa is a dwarf. It normally for us only grows about 1 inch a year, but look at this right here. That's about 8 inches of growth on it. And it turns to a vibrant red in the fall. You can see it starting to go right here. But that's exciting. It has 2 spots of this growth, 3 spots of this growth. So it's finally happy here. And this is our front planter bed that we built up. It was just a slope before, so we built up. It's not something that we cut down. This is a metasequoia. So this is Sherman's Northlight metasequoia or dawn redwood.
And that's
Sherman's
the like kind of American kind of pronunciation. That's Sherman's Knoxlight. I don't know.
It's German, yeah. So it is loving life. This has doubled in size, and the caliper, let me see if I can get the caliper on this one. The caliper down there is humongous compared to what,
I mean,
what it was before.
this is grown so much faster than we expected. We've
So
seen them that are like 4 feet, 6 feet
6 feet.
tall.
6 feet is
Wide.
the biggest we've seen one, and this one is now easily, let's see if I can get up next to it. It's easily up to about 4 feet here, and the 6-foot one was just up here. So we'll see. We might have to end up moving these before they're permanently here. They're going to get bigger than this planter bed allows. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, well, I just thought it wouldn't happen this rapidly.
So some of the hostas have already gone, but here is the Fukuzumi Japanese white pine. It's doing well. It put on, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches of growth this year, or maybe that's about 6. So it's doing quite well. It has a very short needle. It's a blue-green color.
But not quite as blue-green as, say, the Gimborn's Ideal.
Or the Koru, which we have some Korus back here. But anyway, I'll keep on going. So this is another Sherman's Northlight. This is ridiculous. We didn't see this coming here. They love it. Which, let me see, I'll keep on going. They love it. I have some ferns here you probably can't even see that are fine. This is American ginkgo, as in American, Merkan, I think, ginkgo. It's just starting to turn the yellow colors.
Yeah.
It's a true dwarf. It only grows a couple inches a year.
And
that's a troll ginkgo, which surprisingly lived. We thought it was going to die.
Oh yeah, it
sure.
lost most of its upper growth and it kind of resprouted from near the bottom.
Yeah, so it's made a huge comeback. So I'm excited about that. I'm hoping it's not the rootstock that's growing, but it seems to be above the graft. So the graft is down here and it's all above the graft, so that's great. However, talking about things that did not do well, here I'll get out of its way so you can see this. This is our Tiny Curls Eastern White Pine. So while our Japanese white pines, which this is a Gimborn's Ideal here, while they did fairly well, the Tiny Curls did not. This is the color of I'm dead.
It's so pretty though.
It's very pretty, but it's dead. And I don't even want to touch it because I don't want to spread anything it might have to other ones.
Right. And that was weird. It was doing so well and then it just kicked the bucket spontaneously.
That's right. So it grew about 3 inches this year or so, or 4, in all directions. It was doing really great and then it just died. But we have a theory on why. First, another Sherman's Northlight right here. I'll keep on going and not crush the irises back here. This is the Whatnong Japanese maple here. It is definitely turning. It is a bright red from my viewpoint. We'll have to probably get it from above when we come around. I could try to show you. But it's definitely red. And Whatnong is similar to Baldsmith. If you're not familiar with Japanese maples, Whatnong is seen as the more vigorous or more, I guess, healthier version of it. Like it's a little bit more robust. So
And it's definitely red, which
and
is
it's
nice.
growing a lot faster than we thought it would. We didn't expect it to be growing feet a year, and right now it's grown, like this is the growth this year right here. That's about 2 feet. So that's a fair amount. So here's the other guy here I wanted to show you, and then we'll swap. So this is another eastern white pine. This is the not, here, I'll get down here. This is the not sea urchin. And so this guy also put out about 4 to 6 inches of growth, and then it just died. And it is the color of I am dead.
Yeah.
So this is an eastern white pine, and so is the other one that both died this year. My personal theory is that there's too much water here. We do have them, we have the root flares exposed. We did have them mounted up, but they have sunk just a little bit since they've been in the planter bed. But you can still see the root flares. My theory is, though, it just had too much water. Metasequoias, which are this guy, Dawn Redwoods, love water. Like that's their jam is water. So I have a strong suspicion that this is retaining too much water, that this lower planter bed is retaining too much water, and those white pines just didn't like that.
That's our best. That's our best theory right now,
That's my best
honestly.
theory. However, probably this fall and winter, I will be moving the Japanese white pines just so we don't lose them. I don't want it to be an issue with those either. I might end up moving this Japanese maple as well because Japanese maples also don't like having wet feet all the time. They like to be mounded up. You want to have the root flare exposed, and it's a little raised compared to the bottom of this, so I'm not as concerned with it towards the back, but it is a slight concern. So we'll see. All right, here, we want to swap?
Sure.
Okay, swapping.
So the moral of the story there is I guess we might be reconfiguring the whole front section of this planter bed, I
Going towards
suppose.
things that like water more.
Yeah.
And that's fine. As long as we know that, then we can plan for it.
Okay, so you might see in the background there, but also here is our blue star. And I don't have the scientific name on me right this second, but this is blue star. It is a grass and it has these pretty little blue flowers in the spring. And then it's just green during the summer. And it does this like vibrant yellow show in the fall.
Yeah, we can see it behind you so easily.
Like that back there, isn't it great?
Yeah.
So these are really fun. They almost kind of remind me of the way the pseudolarix looks like, and it's kind of needly. It's not the same, but it's reminiscent in a way. These are fun because you can leave this, these will brown out in the wintertime, and you can leave them here as decorative, or you can chop them down and it'll come back the next year. So this one over here, this Japanese maple, is another Mikao Yatsubusa. That's a temporary spot. We just needed to put it somewhere in the ground.
And it also had some growth. Here, let me show you. So it's also not changing yet, which, surprise, surprise. Maybe some of the leaves are starting to. But look at this growth right here. This is about 8 inches as well of growth, which is really good for Mikawa.
And what's interesting about some of these that had the late summer growth instead of the spring growth is that they did this growth, but then they kind of defoliated early, like at the late summer.
Right.
So they kind of have these weird little sticks sticking out, and that happened on a couple of trees.
Well, we weren't watering them, so that's probably part of it.
Yeah,
we had long breaks of no water for a while. Let's see here. So over here, I'm going to go over there. There's the Miss Grace. Miss Grace it struggles. That's a Miss Grace Dawn Redwood. It has grown some this year, but you can see it's already started to defoliate, even though it hasn't turned colors.
And the Miss Grace, I have to say, was already like lopped off like that. We purchased it that way.
Come around to this side.
Watch out for this plant.
Okay, no stepping on plants. Okay, what's this Japanese maple behind you?
And so this is Orangeola, kind of looking a bit red rather than orange, but in its transition phase from green to apparently red. Not so orange.
Not so orange.
Not so orange.
And this was a coral bark Japanese maple that's the closest here. And that just turned earlier. The coral barks tend to go a little bit earlier. Oh, and here's, again, the blue star grass. Yeah. Oh, and this here, almost missed it. Look, here, show us. Well, here, we can trade even, but if you want to show us.
Sure.
Look how much growth, all the whips.
Oh, man, these? Yeah. That's like 9 feet of growth. Not really. That's like 5 feet of growth up there.
4 feet at least. So this had about 4 feet of growth this year. This is a Skeeter's broom.
Yeah, it likes it here.
Yeah,
I guess.
we're not moving it.
I mean, it's not red. It's supposed to be red. It's not red. It's very much so green. And this is still the green color from the summer. It's not really, well, it's turning, it's deciding to turn a little bit. But yeah, unfortunately, we planted this here to be a red and it just is green. So,
Yeah. All right, let's keep on going. Oh, there should be a koru over here.
yep, here's koru right here.
There you go.
So koru is fun. It's little, it's just different than Gimborn's ideal. It's just different than.
And let me try to get close to it. We can barely see it right now.
Okay.
So this is the koru.
It's got little cones.
It does have little cones. And it's a koru. It is a Japanese white pine, Pinus parviflora, koru. And it's a little bit more blue, but it has very short needles.
Mm-hmm. So
it's
just a little different than
not really
everybody
showing
else.
off too much. This is another American here, ginkgo.
Yep. So just a little bit of yellow at the top. Nice contrast with the blue star grass behind it, I think.
With the green and the yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe by the time the blue star is finished and turning more of a brown, this will start to turn yellow, and that might be different.
Okay.
Here's a Sherman's Northlight that's kind of turning in the middle, but I think not in a pretty way. I think it got zapped a little bit.
Yeah,
I
we
think
did have a 30-degree day
so
the
it looks
other
like
day.
it got defoliated a little bit, and these are just leaves that have kind of like sloughed off. Yeah, that's weird. So normally it turns this pretty like creamy tannish color.
And then here, before I change over, here is the Wetnong from above. Just so everybody can see what the Wetnong looks like. And it's grown a whole bunch. Okay.
A contifolium, or also known as dancing peacock. This looked much prettier the other day, so we'll probably throw that footage in here. So this is also known as dancing peacock, this acontifolium, and I think it's appropriately named because it sure is peacocking right now. It's so colorful. Not the color of a peacock, not that beautiful aqua turquoise, but I guess you just think of peacock and you think of like colorful. So super cool. You got oranges, reds, yellows, and a bit of greens down here where they haven't turned a little bit, and maroon. So yeah, it's starting to be a little past its prime because yeah, we've got some leaves that are starting to like dry up and curl up. So this is probably its peak right here, right now. So it's really exciting. It's very colorful this year. But
Okay, what's the guy to your other side?
this is Tamukiyama. We already saw Tamukiyama in the backyard that's turning earlier than this. So this guy's still holding on to its summer color. It's actually quite green under here for Tamukiyama. And it's got its maroon summer color here. So this is kind of shaded out green summer color, maroon summer color, and then it's starting to decide to change.
There it is.
But not quite yet.
Okay.
And here we are with a purple ghost.
Purple ghost. Well, and this is another koru down here.
Oh, and like a
this is
thunderhead.
a thunderhead black pine. I think it's black pine.
And purple ghost. These are its. This is its summer push growth here, and this is the part that's actually kind of maroon right now.
Right. So that's how many feet? At least 2.5 feet.
And then this right here also was its summer push, and this part is red, but nothing else. So we'll see in the future how this one looks. And finally, Oculus draconis. So the ones in the backyard, they're still holding their like light color in the needles. This light area has now started to turn more green. So this isn't as distinctive as the ones in the backyard. So this is normally like a bright creamy color in the summer. And so it starts to green out in the winter and then kind of is not so great looking in the wintertime. So.
Yeah, it has an ugly duckling face.
Yeah, it does.
All right, let's go look at there's what two others over here that we haven't seen. So here is the Austrian pine. Here, we can trade for a second.
Sure.
So your eyes can see the brown in it and mine can't. So this is an Austrian pine. So this is not a dwarf, it is just an Austrian pine. No specific cultivar that I know of. And we planted it at an angle so that it could come back. It has 2 leaders coming out here. We're probably gonna cut off this one later this fall.
And it looks like it kind of did some abandoning up here of this area. Is just kind of brown, like right
Yeah,
there.
so I'm just gonna cut off a few of these like that. Yeah, that's definitely a dead branch. So we're just gonna cut it off and see what it does. We got this tree for, I think, less than $20 or right around $20. I'm not going to be too concerned about it. It should do okay. It is coming back. It's doing something at least unique and different for the architecture of the landscaping. And if we don't like it, we can always just get rid of it. So, and then here is the Gold Rush Dawn Redwood. I don't think some of the leaves are starting to turn on this one.
Yeah, it's
You saw it in the back here. If you want to come see it, there are some leaves right here where
kind
there's
of
some.
some just patchy areas are
Yeah, you have some
changing.
turning here and some that haven't yet.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of neat.
Yeah, it's kind of going from the inside out, I would
Well,
say.
and this is what I was trying to say about the fastidious growth of a dawn redwood. So you can see here the branches, they came out and then start going up. Even the main branching, like it really likes to stay kind of
So we
commular.
planted this one how long ago?
Oh, not that long ago. Oh, it has some Virginia creeper in here.
Okay. Well, we planted this one about a year before the other larger one in the background in the backyard. Hey, can you stop doing that?
Got to get rid of Virginia creeper. Okay. Well, I'm looking for a tag and I don't even see one.
No, we didn't need to
But yeah,
tag it.
we
We know what it
planted
was.
this at the same time as the larger one that we have in the backyard. And what we did to make this grow is we put our air conditioning water, which was actually pretty neutral, over to this so that every day in the summer it got some water. And it just took off.
Way bigger than the one in the
Uh,
backyard. That's
Much bigger,
so.
more than double the size.
It's amazing what happens when you give a tree some water.
Well, a metasequoia some water.
Yeah.
Again, these are metasequoias, so dawn redwood, just like the Sherman's Northlight, but not a dwarf. They love their water, and so if you have a spot that has a lot of water and poor drainage, that's the place to put a metasequoia.
Well, and you can see over here, that in the background is another Gold Rush John Redwood that we planted over there, and it's been there several years
Yeah,
before
we used to
this
live
one.
there. All right, and then let's go up here. Only one really left in this whole show, which is the Sengokaku.
Well, and there's a southern magnolia that was already there.
Yeah, this
in
is
the
the
woods.
southern magnolia. And this is a Sengokaku coral bark Japanese maple. It has done quite well. It's turning, instead of the nor yellow, this one is turning a little bit more orangey red. I have to say I think we got this one from Costco, so I'm not gonna be sure it's the actual cultivar, not just a seedling. But it's still very pretty and very large compared to what we bought it. It's doubled in size in the last year or so, or 2 years.
Yeah.
And then again, all the way up here is just our whole row of deodars.
Yeah.
Deodars all
Oh,
the
the
way.
deodars.
Okay, so that's it for our garden tour for the fall of 2023. Thanks so much for watching.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. If you don't mind, please like and subscribe. It really does make a difference.
That's right. Apparently, we'll have a winter garden tour, which will be mostly camellias.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if you haven't seen it, we have a 32 video series on our Japanese shed that we've built. We also have a time lapse that shows everything very quickly as well. So depending on what you want to watch, but check out those as well. It's really good content, and we'll have more modern builds coming your way as well.